everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today I'm incredibly excited. I am doing a collab with 4 other amazing women on YouTube, and we are going to be doing the eyeshadow wardrobe tag. Now, this was originally created from Morgan Turner's channel. She did this in collaboration with Charlotte Holdcroft. Maybe you remember a couple months back, I did the foundation wardrobe tag, which Charlotte had originally created. So basically, Morgan and I believe one of her subscribers took that idea and it morphed into the eyeshadow wardrobe tag, and here we go. So I feel incredibly lucky to be collaborating with these 4 amazing content creators. The first is Eileen from A Merch Beauty. I'll put the pictures above. And she's relatively new to YouTube, like all of us, doing this collab today. She has a great style, great makeup looks, a huge Prince fan. When you go on her channel, definitely ask her a question about Prince. And her recent Gucci video, her unboxing, is awesome. You guys need to check it out. The pink sneakers in there alone, a girl after my own heart. Second is Cara from Beauty and the Frizz, and Cara, you know, is a fabulous, lovely lady. She's a teacher, and she does really colorful and beautiful looks. Her Sailor Moon video that she recently did with the wig, the whole thing, guys, you gotta check it out. It's amazing. It's incredibly adorable. Third is Kelly Rettenberger. She is a licensed makeup artist and hairstylist. Her hair always looks amazing. When this quarantine is over and I can actually go see people again, the first thing I'm gonna do is go to where Kelly is. I won't tell you where she's located because maybe she doesn't want people to know that, but I'm gonna go there and I'll be like, tell me how to do my hair, because she always looks fabulous in every video that she does. Her makeup skills are fantastic, and her recent Natasha Denona Chrome, the duochromes, really hit it out of the park. It was really interesting. She used a number of different products to show you how they stacked up. Definitely check that out. Last but not least is Yadi from Yadi Beauty, and Yadi and I go way back. I mean, like way back. You know, 3 months until when she started her channel, and she's doing a fabulous job. She's got incredible looks and does an amazing job on her makeup reviews. But in addition, she has a series where she's talking to folks about what to do, how to get started on YouTube if you want to start your own channel, do's and don'ts, and I think those things are incredibly helpful. I'm actually going to be doing one video as it relates to those issues because you have asked for it, about my camera and lights and all of that, but she actually has a series, so definitely check out her channel. In fact, check out all of these ladies' channels. I'll have the links below in the description box. After I go through my eyeshadows and my list today, you definitely need to check all of them out and tell them that I sent you over. Or if you're here from one of their channels, hi, thanks for joining me. So the list that we're gonna be dealing with will be down below in the description box, what each one is. So the first one is a wedding, like a guest at the wedding. If this was actually my wedding, I probably would do something different, but I'm not actually sure. Because I feel like at a wedding, you know, you want a subtle look regardless of whether you're a bride or a guest. I'm not an over-the-top kind of ornate person anyway, so I probably wouldn't do that no matter what, whether I was the bride or a guest. But as a guest, I still think like a subdued, kind of pretty, I don't know, like satiny always comes to mind. I don't know why satin necessarily. I mean, you know, brides wear all kinds of things, but satin comes to mind when I think of a wedding. So what my mind went to was the Viseart Paris Nudes palette. And I'll open this up so you can see it. And what this really is a palette, a 12-pan palette full of satiny, subdued, subtle shades. They're different shades. There's some warm ones, there's some cool ones, but none of them are too much. None of them are like overwhelming. None of them are, you know, like a stealer of the show kind of thing, which I think is important if you're a guest at the wedding. Never outshine the bride, that's a bad idea. And they're all very soft and just beautiful. If you aren't familiar with Viseart, you should check them out. They have beautiful shades And you can just see, like, these are just 4 of the shades that I picked up just randomly. They're super smooth, they're super satiny. They just have, like, to me, a soft romantic kind of feel. I know that sounds kind of odd, like in an eyeshadow palette, but that's what comes to mind. And as a guest at a wedding, I don't know, I always think of that. Like, I think of, you know, romance and kind of like subtle and classic. So I think this particular palette would be beautiful. Viseart has 12 pan palettes like this. They have pro palettes that are much larger. They have petite pro palettes. I've actually picked up a couple of new ones. The Solstice, which was new. I need to do a video on that. I haven't done that yet. And all of their formulas are beautiful. Their mattes are amazing, and I really enjoy their satins as well. The next one is date night, and I think that's kind of funny. My husband and I have been together for 17 years this year, actually Labor Day weekend, so now. So 17 years we met, and we've been married for 14. So we don't, I mean, we do go out, we do, but I mean, like, date night's not really a thing for us. We go out, we go to dinner, we do things, we travel, but I don't know. I mean, I know lots of people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's awesome. It's just, we don't really do date night necessarily. But for me, if I was gonna go out, and I think of date night as going like somewhere nice, like, right, like a nice restaurant, and we'll be able to do that again. I harken back to one of my favorite palettes of all time, which is the ABH Master Palette by Mario. And this is an old palette, okay, and I've been keeping this stored in a special way so it does not go bad. It's well loved. You'll notice it's much more loved than a lot of other palettes that I will show you. And this has my favorite formula, my favorite shades. I love this thing. And I wish he would recreate it or do another palette like it. He is the makeup artist that does Kim Kardashian's makeup, and that's how he got started. This palette is special. I can't tell you specifically why the formula is so different in here, but there's something about the shades, the creaminess, the intensity. They just work really well for me as well. Like, the colors work well for me. It is more of a warm tone palette, so if you don't like warm, you know, you won't like it. But just these 3 shades alone are just very me, you know? Of course there's a green, but like the bronze, this is actually Kim, that's the name of this one, and this is Isabel. And these shades are my favorite shades, and the formula is just beautiful. It looks great on practically anyone. They don't wear off. I love this palette. And again, this is very old, and there aren't any others. You can't get more of them. So I've been storing it very, very carefully because it only had a 6-month shelf life. It's way beyond that, but I still use it. The way I store it, it should be fine, and I've never had a problem with it. But not that I'm saying, you know, keep expired items. Trust me, guys, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying for me, I have decided to keep it because I love it so much that I just make sure that, you know, it's stored in a way that has no moisture getting in, no light, etc., etc., so I can keep it as long as I possibly can. So girls' night. Girls' night was interesting. I think of girls' night as like going out dancing, drinking, you know, something like a little bit more, not crazy, but you know what I mean? Like, when I think of girls' night, I think of going out. I have 2 very good girlfriends who I've known for a very long time, and we do a girls' weekend every year. We did not do it last year because everything was really crazy busy for the 3 of us. And we always do it in November, and we go to this place in Southern Florida, this particular area, this particular hotel, and we just didn't do it last year. And of course now we're not able to do it this year. And I'm reminded of, you know, how fleeting things are and how you never know if you'll have a chance to do something like that again. And we had been going to this place for several years in a row. I think we were on our 5th year. That weekend is filled with drinking and dancing and eating and spa day, and it's a great time. So when I think of girls' night, that's what comes to mind. So I thought of the Marc Jacobs Extravagance palette. And the reason is because this palette's just fun. Like, you could do a simple look, like for the days, like the place that we go that has its own beach, so you could sit on the beach. Very good looking people come bring you drinks and you can eat at the restaurant, the beach club. And if you were just gonna do that and you wanted a little bit of makeup for some reason or something, you know, you could use the shades over here to do that. And then late at night when you go out dancing, you go for drinks, you can use these. And I'll link above the video I did with this palette. It's just a fun palette. I love the shades. I love the fact that of course there's greens in there, olives. I just think it's really pretty and it just reminds me of like fun. I'm looking forward to the days that I can do girls' night again. Vacation. So, you know, for me, vacation, my job, my in real life job is very stressful. You know, I love what I do. It's very rewarding, but it's also a pressure-filled job. And there are components of it under normal circumstances where I am traveling a great deal and still doing the day-to-day stuff that I need to get done, and it's exhausting. So when I think of vacation, I think of being able to do nothing or as little as possible. Fly somewhere. I mean, like what I would really love to do is like fly to the Maldives or Fiji and just sit in a hut and have people bring me fruit and not do anything. And not have Wi-Fi and not have a phone. That would be awesome. So when I go on vacation, I do love to shop. I do love to go to good restaurants and eat, but I like to be very leisurely in my vacations. I do not like a planned itinerary type of vacation. It's just not who I am because I'm so tired by the time I get to the vacation part. So the palette that I thought of was the BH Cosmetics Love in London palette, and a couple of reasons. One, the packaging is such that it's like this cardboard kind of thing, so it's not going to break, and if it does, you know, you're not devastated because you've spent a ridiculous amount on the particular palette. Two, it's got lots of really great shades in it. I mean, it's got a multitude of 16 shades. And there's, you know, all different kinds of shades in here. You've got some blues, you got some purples, you got a black. Well, it's just like a charcoal. But you've got some shades that are like really shiny. I'll show you like this one, which is called Queen. I mean, look at that. Look at how vibrant that one is. Prestige. It's a beautiful shade. BH Cosmetics, I love their formula, guys. I actually have some new BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop palettes that I still need to play with. So I really love these shades. I think they're really pigmented, they're beautiful, they're easy to travel with, and you know, they're not like complicated. Because again, if I'm going on vacation, I don't want any complications. Okay, next is graduation. Now, when I thought of graduation, I wasn't sure, like, if I don't know if the purpose, graduation, like for Morgan, Morgan's quite a bit younger than I am, and so graduation to her was a lot, it wasn't very long ago. Charlotte is still quite a bit younger than I am. So when I think of graduation, I think of attending a graduation. My graduation was a very long time ago from high school, undergrad, and law school. All still a very long time ago. So I just picked a palette that I thought was neutral but sophisticated, because if you're gonna go to a graduation, you wanna look nice, but you know, you're gonna be outside, you don't want it to be like melting down your face. And you're probably gonna go somewhere to eat afterwards. Like these are the thoughts. Like, I'm very practical. I'm like, okay. So I actually went with the Pat McGrath Platinum Bronze palette. This is one of her 6-pan palettes, and I think I've mentioned before, I don't like all her 6-pans, but this is actually one of my favorite palettes. It's a cool toned palette, and those of you who know me know that that's like not really me, but I love platinum. I love that shade in particular. My rings are platinum. My jewelry is usually platinum or silver. I don't like yellow golds at all. If I do gold, it's a white gold. So I actually love these shades. The shade, and I don't have the thing with the names on it anymore because somehow I've put it somewhere and I don't know where it is. But there are 2 shades in here that I've worn. I can't even tell you how many times I've worn them. And I'm running, like my hand is starting to, you can see the other shades on here, but I think Pat McGrath will still show up, so it'll be all right. Those 2 shades. You see what I mean? They're just, I mean, they're beautiful and they're so pigmented. And with my coloring, they're really good. I actually wear this 6-pan quite a bit. Like a lot, like a lot. I find it flattering. I really like it. I think it's classy and subtle, but also it's pigmented and has a little bit of something extra to it because it's Pat McGrath. So that's what I chose for graduation. Christmas Day was an interesting one because for me, Christmas reminds me of family. That's really the biggest thing. I grew up, my family itself is relatively small. Growing up, it was my mom and my dad, me and my sister. But my mother is one of 13 children. And growing up, we all lived, or most of us, on the same street. It's a long story and I'll get into it someday. But those of us who didn't live on the street at least lived in the same state. So we all lived within, half an hour of each other. So Christmas Eve was always spent at my mom's parents' house, my grandparents, with most of the family and a lot of the cousins. And it was a tremendous amount of fun. As a kid, it was, I'm sure it was craziness for the adults, but as a kid, it was fabulous. And it was always something I looked forward to, and have great memories of. So when I think of Christmas, I kind of think of, I don't know, again, something simple and classy and just warm, and so the one that came to mind was actually something that's really new to my collection. And it's the Soft Cashmere by Dior. It just seems to me like a really warm, cozy palette. It's the kind of palette that you would sit drinking cocoa with a candy cane in. I know. It's like a Hallmark card. I know, guys, sorry. But, growing up in New England, that's like the vibe that you get, or at least that's what I got growing up. And so that's what this reminds me of. And it just, to me, called out, Christmas. Now, I know a lot of us, when we think of Christmas, we think of like red and green and the whole Christmas colors and all that good stuff. But for me, I think cozy, family, hot chocolate, that's what comes to mind. So the Soft Cashmere just, I don't know, it just fit for me. A birthday party. So again, this one's actually relatively new to my collection. And it's the Tiny Marvels palette. I know I still have it in its packaging. I mean, I take it out, obviously, when I use it. But the packaging is so cool, I just kind of want to leave it in there. I know, it's a little weird. Sydney Grace is an amazing brand. And this one was one that was done with Mel Thompson. I'll link the video above. But I love all the Sydney Grace shadows that I have so far. I want the Enduring Love one so badly. But this one's just fun. So when I think of a birthday party, I think of like big balloons and cake and it's fun. And so if you're gonna do something fun, this is like the palette to do it with. Because there's so many shades in here, I think you could just play around with and do great stuff with. Like the Mantis, which most people use that green, but there's the Jewel Bee, which is the super like purple one. It's like a lavender. The Tree Hopper's gorgeous. Meadowhawk is, look, this is one that I didn't use, but look at the shade. Look at that. Like, look how pretty that is. And I'm not a pink person, but that just has an incredible shift to it. It's just fun. The Fire Butts is my favorite, which is not a shock. I love green. And look at that. It's like, it's just so pretty. It's so shiny. Like, who doesn't love that? I mean, you know. So for a birthday party, like, that just screams fun to me. So I would go with the Tiny Marbles palette for a birthday party. Okay, the next one is an office. And you know what? Actually, quite a few of these are new to me. Interesting. So office, the first thing that came to mind, was Tom Ford's new dip, which is actually a little bit like soft cashmere. And there was a couple of Tom Fords actually that came to mind, but I'm gonna be doing Tom Ford for another one. And I did really wanna try to do a different brand for each category. You don't have to, but I wanted to try to do that if I could. So I was like, okay, when I think of office appropriate, what do I think of? And the one that actually leapt to mind was Wayne Goss. His new palette is perfect. I mean, that is, at least for what I do, these are the shades that will work perfectly again and again for an office look. They are work appropriate no matter where you are. They're incredibly blendable. They work on young skin, old skin. They work on everybody. You could definitely use like these lighter shades for the office and then deepen it up when you're going out at night. You know, leave this in your desk. I mean, it's pretty much perfect and foolproof, which, you know, for the office world is a nice touch. I really do like that palette, and I've actually been playing around with it quite a bit, and I think it's a really good basic, and I actually really enjoy it. I hope he comes out with more shades and expands his line, but for an intro palette, I think it's great. Okay, errands is the next one, like going out and running errands. Honestly, and I know all of you will be like, you have a beauty channel. I don't really wear makeup when I run errands. Like, if you caught me during the day on a Saturday or Sunday going somewhere, now I don't really go anywhere anymore because I really don't go into any places anymore, at least for now. But if I were in a normal life, in a normal day, if I was running to the grocery store or CVS or going shopping or whatever, I probably wouldn't wear makeup, or if I did, it would be very little makeup. So I was thinking, okay, what would I really wear if I was running around but wanted to look nice running errands? And the one that's come to mind, there was a couple of things that I have, but one that I thought would be different, that would kind of be like a little bit off the beaten track of the other ones that I've shown you, is the Westman Atelier iPod Trio. This is the day one. This is the Les Jours. I don't have the Les Nuits yet, but I will pick it up. And these shades are exactly, you know, as they look on the outside. They're very simple. These are basic shades. They are a wash of color. They are not, I mean, I'm not even sure they're eyeshadow. They are eyeshadow, but they're so light and so like a sheer wash of color. I would say two things. I would say, one, if you are a deeper skin tone, I'm not sure these would show up. And two, if you're looking for anything with pigment, these are not for you. But the great thing about these is, one, they're magnetic and I just find them adorable. But two, if I am running out to do errands, like I said, I'm not probably wearing a lot of makeup. Maybe I put on some tinted moisturizer and some lip balm. This would be great just to put on your eye. It's kind of like putting on a bronzer, frankly, and just, you know, having something on your face. That's kind of how I look at it. And it's perfect for that. And I actually do enjoy the formula. It's really pretty, and it's clean beauty, which is nice. New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve, I think of a big party. Like, I think an over-the-top New Year's Eve party. And New Year's Eve is one of those holidays that is always a letdown. Almost always, right? Because in your mind, you see it in movies, or you know, like, there's always these huge parties and this gorgeous building and everyone's wearing, you know, a ball gown or whatever. And in real life, that's not usually what New Year's is. Usually New Year's is, you know, you're working on something, or you're at home, or you have kids and you're watching television or whatever. Generally, it's not that over-the-top amazing ball that you see in a movie or on television. But when you think of the image of New Year's Eve, that's what comes to mind. So I wanted to pick a palette that I thought was shiny and dramatic and sophisticated and formal. for New Year's Eve. What came to mind was the Tom Ford Double Indemnity. And this palette, it's a beautiful palette, guys. If you don't have it, you should pick it up because it's one of Tom Ford's best. Now I'm gonna try to do this on the other side of my arm because I've got swashes everywhere. But it's an incredibly pigmented palette. The shades are beautiful. And it's just so pretty. It's similar to the black bow in the Christian Dior, but not. I just really like it. I just think it's a really pretty palette. And it stays on really well. It has, you know, the formula is really pretty. It looks good on the eye. And I don't know, it just has that like party kind of, to me, like, you know, like a ball, like a gala kind of feel to it. Like that's what comes to mind when I think of that. So that's my list, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. As I said in the beginning of my video, please check out the other content creators who I've collabed with today. Thanks to Morgan and Charlotte for coming up with this idea in the first place. Both amazing content creators here on YouTube. I'm sure you're already following them, but if you're not, go over to their channels, check them out, subscribe. They're awesome. I know you'll love them. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you joining me here today. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in another video really soon. Bye-bye.